This is Brandon, I'm Sarah, and of course, our beloved Aiko. Frustrated by the ever-increasing cost of living, we sold everything, went out on a limb, and left our traditional life on land behind. We built a new kind of dream together, and now get to call this slice of paradise home. We're learning how to navigate this unique life off the grid and on the water, so grab a drink and join us for the ever-evolving adventure that is keeping afloat. After a successful tongue and groove ceiling installation last week, we shifted gears from overhead to underfoot. And I'm not talking about the lake. That's right, I'm talking about floors, our last unfinished primary component of the interior of this full floating cabin renovation. If you're new with us and might want to binge watch this project from the start, or if you've been following along but might have missed a few weeks here and there, I'll leave a link to a playlist with all of our progress in chronological order in the description, as well as on screen at the very end of this episode. Floating cabin renovations are somewhat similar to renovations on regular homes on land, but also differ in quite a few interesting ways, as you might can imagine. For most folks, this is a fun and one-of-a-kind journey to follow along with. But let's get right into this week's transformation, and it truly is a transformation, shall we?
What are you doing?
I am putting this emerald paint on these walls.
Emerald?
Yeah, that's the quality. Or Diamond Deluxe, it says it on the cap. Marquee! It's the top of the line.
Marquee.
Yeah, I think the other one is when you buy Sherwin-Williams, but we bought Bear because Mom likes this polished color from Bear. And it's a little darker than your trim paint, and when you put it all together, it looks really good. But now when that bathroom's painted, we can install this shower, because I am sick of moving this glass.
I know, right? You finished this room, right?
The living room is completely painted. One coat is not finished, it's got to have another coat.
Sorry
So
guys, I forgot to film that. So when we first started putting, this is the same paint that's in our house. As you can see, when you put it on white, at first it looks darker, right? And when we first started putting it in our house, I was worried that it was looking like dirty, like the color looked kind of dusty, you know, but what we found out was that, well, for one thing, that's just the contrast. Once it's all painted that way, it just looks white. But for another thing, having a slightly toned down white helps make it look less like, I don't know if this makes sense, but like cheap white, like, you know, fluorescent white, and more
There's
kind of like natural and
2,000 kinds of white.
Yeah, much to our surprise, all whites are definitely not created equal. We really like this kind of toned down white a little bit, especially because when the sun hits it, it is blinding before it has that paint on it. Like the factory white is like obnoxiously bright when the sun hits it, which it does all the time in a floating house, because it's not just what's overhead, it's what's reflecting off the water, right? There, I'm surprised you didn't come inside and put your little booty on the wall like you like to do when we're painting, huh? You're a good girl. If nothing else, that made it look so much cleaner. Yeah. The walls were so dirty. Yeah. Say what you said a minute ago.
What did I say? I can't even remember. Yeah, I didn't see a seam yet that I thought, wow, that looks bad. They all were actually really good.
For reference, I've been here caulking for the last, 3 days.
You've come a long ways in your caulkings.
Brandon said he was proud of me. I'm gonna go bask in that for the rest of the night.
Pour you a nice warm bath.
Yeah, draw me a bath. All right, with the first coat of paint on the house, all that said and done for the evening, I think it's time for a brief episode of Why Not. This evening, I've got to replace, or I guess make more oat milk. So the past month and a half, 2 months, I've been making my own oat milk. New endeavor for me. Wasn't sure if it was going to be sustainable time-wise. What I found is a couple hacks that make it go quicker, and all in all at this point, it takes me 15 minutes to make 2 bottles like this. And it would actually go way quicker if it weren't for the fact that my blender is yay big. If I had like a normal household blender, then it would go significantly faster. I bet you could do this in like 5 or 6 minutes. Cost-wise, that's the main reason that I've been making my own, in addition to the fact that I appreciate not having any like synthetic additives and stuff like that. I probably use like 30 to 50 cents worth of oats and water. You blend up the oats in the water and you strain out the oat pulp, and voila, you have oat milk. Like, it is so criminally easy. It's ridiculous how much they charge at the store for it being such an easy process. I add a little bit of cinnamon and salt and occasionally honey just for flavor. You don't have to. You could also use dates. You could also use sugar. You could also use none of that if you don't like your oat milk sweet. Very important that you use cold water, like as cold as you can possibly get water. Ice water, preferably, if you have the time and all. And if you want to be really thrifty, you can use your oat pulp for all kinds of things, for baking and other things. I don't know if I'll do that today.
Baking and other things?
Yes, you know, that's my only example off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's other things. All right, so there's my, I guess you would say, raw oat milk. You can see how creamy it is. And the last step is, since we use the big strainer first, is I just put it through this finer mesh strainer. Baby, hush! They don't want to hear about your poop. They're learning about oat milk.
There was ducks watching me poop. For all y'all never had that happen.
As I was saying. Alright, so I used to use a cheesecloth or nut bag or whatever you want to call it for... Baby, hush!
Nut bag? Like a cod sack? Is that what a nut bag is?
But what I learned was that the cheesecloth thing takes forever. And unless you're somebody with like a really big texture thing, like you couldn't stand any pulp in your OJ, for example, then don't even worry about it. If that is you, you're probably gonna want to use a cheesecloth. But if you don't mind like the slightest bit of like sediment or whatever, it's fine. So I just use a finer mesh strainer and it just goes so much quicker than a cheesecloth. That is the last step. Oat milk. Why not? This, like I said, 30 cents. You guys know how expensive those milk alternatives are at the store. It's just ridiculous, especially now that you know how easy it is to make. And that took me like 10 minutes. It would take you guys faster if you have a bigger blender. So I challenge anybody who drinks non-dairy milk to try and make their own oat milk. I think you'll be surprised. For one thing, why not?
Oh, it's the soft sand. Yes. Yes. Woohoo! That's a good baby girl. Oh my goodness. Look, you see that? It's a fountain. Green. I'm so excited.
That morning I put the second coat of paint on the walls and measured out how many boards of trim we would need as Brandon made the multi-hour round trip to our nearest Lowe's. Listen to this. 10 10-foot boards, 28 8-foot boards, 13 inside corner trim pieces, 2 outside corner trim pieces. That is 324 feet of trim board. Every time that I just like guesstimate how much trim I think we would need, I grossly underestimated. That is longer than a football field worth of trim for this little house. It's just crazy how much trim it takes for something to really look nice and finished, you know what I mean? I just got the most wonderful text message. That makes my morning. Paint a little faster now.
Alright, I think Brandon's about 10 minutes away, so I'm going to go ahead and head to the marina, pick up the pontoon, and help him unload, because we got a lot of trim and floor to get over here. The joys of building on the water, unloading and reloading like 5 times. So for our floors, we got the Smart Core Ultra. Again, this is what we used in both of our houses. In the other house Brandon built, now in this house too. Not sponsored or anything. Believe me, I wish it was. We've tried. It would cut down on our build costs a lot, but this stuff is like the best. Not only do we get a lot of compliments on the way it looks, but it is just so practical because it's waterproof, number one. It's also pet proof, you know, if you're moving furniture around, it's scratch proof. As you guys have seen, it's like paint proof, Brandon proof, like anything you spill on it comes right up. It is just so easy. Most brands, I feel like, don't do as good of a job at also having like the true, genuine appearance of wood. A lot of vinyl floor planking, it looks like vinyl floor planking. Big fan of this stuff. We're gonna continue to use it. And Brandon is really speedy at installing it at this point, so he's gonna get started while I finish up painting. Wowee, good job.
I'm getting good at that.
Yeah. My bad, Mom. I forgot to bring Bear's bowl, so she gets to drink out of my dinghy bailing jug today.
Hi. So.
Hey, look at your shirt.
Oh.
What do you have on
To let
there?
everybody know that I am a captain.
Yes.
Keeping
Let's see the
afloat.
back. Booyah.
We got swag.
Yes, we made shirts. So these are the shirts that all of our captain members of our Patreon crew get included in their membership, but we're thinking about maybe just also like selling them. I don't know. Let us know what you think.
SPF.
Yes, or UPF 50. If you order one, it says Lake Life on the arm. The captain is only for the captain Patreons and Brandon.
If you'd like to wrap some Keeping Afloat merch, just check the comment section below for more info on how to get your hands on your own hooded sun protection shirt. Now, merch aside, it took just a couple hours to finish the rest of the flooring, and beyond the satisfaction of checking another huge box off our list, we were amazed how the space transformed from work in progress to, oh my gosh, this is looking like a home. What say ye?
Just the floors in. That looks really good.
One thing we always loved about this floor was these beautiful little, what we call trout speckles, because it totally looks like a rainbow trout. So fitting for a little lake house. Let there be doors. What else you got?
Sink.
Oh,
Vanity sink.
nice.
Kind of chilly.
I know, right?
It's supposed to be like 33 tonight. I'm gonna start at this corner, okay? We want it right there. You see how that's flush with this?
Mm-hmm. It's isn't hard per se, but it's really awkward. That's the best way I can describe it. Putting indoors, very awkward process.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on a midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to
lot of vanity. Really pretty happy with how it turned out. The only thing that we have regrets about was we initially, kind of long story, we didn't plan to put this board on there. And if we had, then we would have ran this over here so we didn't have this seam in the front, but we sanded it a little bit. I think we'll sand it some more, and once it's all stained, it'll blend right in. Just nitpicking things, you know. But it looks so cute. I love these fixtures. Cute.
Time sings a song. As the days move along, you can remember their song.
Alright everybody, we in here trimming and damn caulking, and floors are in, doors. Look, we even did doors this time. It's amazing. We got a little trim paint to do, a little wall paint to touch up. We're gonna get all that going on like Donkey Kong, and then the next thing we're gonna do is go get some cabinets for the kitchen. Put in some cabinets, build some battery boxes, floating bed goes in here like in our house. We even got bunk beds all ready to go in here. It's all coming along. We're slowly getting there. We're thinking even putting doorknobs in these doors.
Real fancy.
There's the caulker. She loves caulking. We're getting the bathroom. It's about ready to trim. Then we can finally put that glass in the shower once we paint back there. Got the vanity going on. Time to stain it. We're making moves. Making moves.
Okay, I feel like I haven't been talking much because I haven't been feeling like it. We're just like cranking at work, and so I've just been time-lapsing, and I hope that's not boring for you guys, but I recognize finishing work isn't the most exciting. Caulking and trim painting and stuff like that, it probably doesn't look significantly different on camera, but it really does in person. It really, really does. It looks so good. It's just coming together. It's looking so much more, well, I mean, finished.
If it was me, I'd have the trim the same color, hand me the rag, the same color as the walls, and then you just slap the paint up there. But because it ain't me.
Thelma's taught us that it gives kind of a nicer look even if they're both white, if the trim paint and the wall paint are slightly different shades of white. Also, the finish is different. So the trim paint is satin and the wall paint is eggshell. And I do really feel like when you look around, the trim paint just kind of like pops, but without being a different color. And it really does make a difference. Next week on Keeping Afloat, it's time for cabinets, the kitchen island, beds, and more. We're coming down the home stretch of this floating cabin renovation, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the finished product reveal. Here's our progress playlist, which you can click on to go back and follow along from the start. We'll see you soon.